Hey guys, welcome to the porch where the real gets real. So, why do we call it the porch, or why did I name it the porch? Well, I think I said this before, but I'll definitely say it again. So, the porch is where, if you ever grew up like in the hood or in an urban area, the porch, going to somebody's house and sitting on the porch was everything. You play cards on the porch, you talk mess on the porch, everything. You do hair on the porch, you sit on the porch and look and see what's going on in the neighborhood. Like, the porch is everything. You could get cussed out on the porch, tell them fuck you and y'all gone, you gone, and right the next day you're gonna be right back on the porch. So the porch is where nothing is off limits, everything gets talked about, especially if you lived in an urban area. So, the porch. Welcome to the porch. So, today on the porch, I'm going to talk about something that, it's talked about, it's not common to discuss it, but it's not uncommon either. So, we'll just jump right into it. Sexual abuse, child sexual abuse. So, with that being said, I'm gonna give it's gonna be I'm gonna give a couple of segments to this because I think it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. It's something that a lot of time in black households, we don't discuss it. We sweep a lot of things under the rug for the simple fact, it's things that, oh, what goes on in my house stays in my house. You don't want people in your business or whatever, and that creates a lot of trauma. And at the end of the day, when you are a kid, a child, you take those traumas, your childhood traumas, you take those into your take that into your adulthood. So how do you overcome a lot of things, especially if shit get keep getting swept under the rug? And at the end of the day, um, yeah, things just have to change. What our parents did or our grandparents did, not knocking them for what they did, but at the end of the day, you have to create your own path. You have to walk down, your own walk and do whatever is best for you. And if that um and if that something is discussing your trauma or bringing up your trauma or just actually being truthful with yourself about what happened, then a lot of times you can start your healing journey. And I think a lot of the time, personally, um, we are unable to heal because we are forced to relive those moments or things in our mind over and over and over again because it's not something that we could have talked to our parents or our grandparents about. So you got a lot of fucked up grown people because we weren't able to express ourselves. So, yeah. So I wrote some things down. So if y'all don't see me looking in the camera, it's because yeah, I'm reading because I want to get my point across. So, child sexual abuse is real, and it begins with the truth. Recovery begins with the truth. Talking about child sexual abuse is an uncommon topic that people of all ethnicities um, skate and or dance around. It's very uncommon to talk about it, and it hurts like hell to think that someone will harm a child, my child, your child, a child in general. Therefore, it goes unreported often, leaving a child untreated, which affects the entire family. Not to mention, it leaves the offender free to continue to act on their sick behavior. And the sad reality is, a lot of time, it is not a stranger. It is not a stranger um, that our children come in contact with. It's the people that we look and they look face to face. Facts. So, different facts about sexual abuse. Here we go. In the U.S., 1 in 4 girls experience sexual abuse. 1 in 20 boys experience sexual abuse. About 90% of child sexual abuse is committed by someone the child or family knows. That's very high. 90%. Only 10% of child abuse offenders are caught. Why? Because lack of reporting, difficult to identify, and lack of resources. 73% of victims do not tell anyone about the sexual abuse for at least a year. So, you could be sitting right next to somebody, be sitting right next to a child who is being sexually abused, and you have no fucking idea, because a lot of times they are afraid to tell, because the offender threatens them, or they're afraid to tell because they're afraid no one will believe them. 45% of victims do not tell for at least 5 years. Others never tell ever. They never say a word. There is a much higher rate of child sexual abuse than it is rape. And that's because it goes unreported. So the rate is higher than rape, but we wouldn't know because it's never reported. So yeah. Ooh, don't fall. So those are a few facts. I'll keep going with the facts. Family structure is the most important risk factor when it comes to sexual abuse. Children living in a foster care system without either parent is 10 times more likely to experience sexual abuse. I'll say that again. Children living in a foster care system without either parent is 10 times more likely to be sexually abused. Children living with a single parent that has a live-in partner is at higher risk to be sexually abused. So they're 20 times more likely to be sexual abuse. So a foster child living in a foster care system with no parent is 10 times more likely to be sexually abused. A child living with a single parent is 20 times living with a single parent that has a live-in partner is 20 times more likely than to be sexually abused in the home, to be a sexual victim. So yeah. Truth be told, nobody is off limits when it comes to sexual abuse, child sexual abuse. It could be race doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, economics doesn't matter, nothing matters. So keep that in mind. You could be rich, you could be poor. It doesn't matter. You could be black, you could be white, you could be Chinese, you could be Vietnamese. You can it doesn't matter. That's all I'm trying to say. So be mindful of that. That ethnicity doesn't matter. You could be Muslim, you could be Christian, you can be whatever. It doesn't matter. You can be a victim. Age does play a major role for boys. While all children are at risk, the most vulnerable ages are between the ages of 7 and 13. The median age that was reported was the age 9. More than 20% of abused children are abused before the age of 8. And remember, I'm going to say it again. A lot of the time, the accuser or the one that is doing the act is someone close to home. Someone either in the home or around the home. It could be a family friend. It could be a live-in boyfriend, husband. You know, it's just some sick ass people out here in these streets. To keep it above. So, yeah, I'll stop with the facts for now and just speak from the heart. One thing you never want to do is ask a person, well, why you didn't tell me, or accuse them after they come forward, accuse them of being the person that initiated the act. At the end of the day, sometimes, your first reaction is to jump on the person that's telling you, but you don't want to point fingers. It's very important that if you really don't know what to say, just shut up. Don't say anything at all, because it takes a very brave person to actually come forth and say what has been going on with them. And a lot of the times that person may feel that they are to blame from the very beginning, because you never know what things that the person that was abusing them has mentally put into their mind. So you never want to point the finger and say, oh, it's your fault, or why you didn't do this, or whatever. And what I have also learned is just like doing research and learning about different things when it comes to sexual abuse is, as a parent, we tell our kids, oh, if somebody do something to you, you tell me, I'ma kill them and stuff like that. Just the way that we want to protect our children, our children want to protect us. So if we tell our kids, oh, I'ma kill that motherfucker, just tell me everything, it's up. Our kids don't want to see us behind bars. They may already be dealing with, already have lost one parent. So we are the only parent that they have left, meaning the parent that's with them day in and day out. So I'm not going to tell, because I don't want my parents to go to jail. I don't want to be in foster care. I don't want to have to go live with another family member. You get what I'm saying? So it's what I have learned is you're not supposed to say, I'm going to kill the person that's doing whatever they doing to you, if it were to happen. So when we're grooming our kids, like, if anybody ever touch you, you just let me know so we can contact the proper authorities. Even if you're gonna kill them, just don't tell your kids, period. Or even if you want to fuck them up, you just don't tell your kids that that's something that you plan on doing, because at the end of the day, you don't want your child to be afraid to come and talk to you about what's going on with them, because they know you're gonna spaz out, and then they're gonna be left without you. So this is a topic to be continued. It's heavy, but it's necessary. I'm just a strong believer in not sweeping things under the rug, because it really affects you long term. So yeah. And we're gonna be sitting on the porch and we're gonna be talking about it. It's a lot of grown women who have yet to even come out and tell their story. And with that being said, it's very taboo for a man to talk about being sexually abused, but it happens And we should not neglect a man's feelings, because that's a traumatic experience either way you cut it. So welcome to the porch where the real gets real.